My name is Kate Deering. I am an assistant director within Gies Online programs. I spent a lot of my time working with prospective learners in the recruitment space. It's one of my favorite things to do, meeting new people every day like you all in attendance here today. So thanks for being here. Thank you for taking that first step in kind of researching Gies and learning a little bit about our programs and our credentials. So thanks for being here. I just wanted to point your attention to that QR code on the screen. If you scan that with your phone, our admissions counselors will reach out to you in the next couple days just to touch base with you, see if you want to meet, answer any questions, talk about your goals. It's just a way to get in touch with us sooner than later. So while we give everyone a little bit more time to join us, I wanted to throw this first poll on the screen. There's a QR code, or you can enter the poll everywhere into your website. Go ahead and tell us where you're from. Where are you located in the world? I think you just click on the map and throw your pin there. We're always curious where everyone is joining us from. And we should be able to see right away. Everybody should be able to see where we've got the US, looks like. Typically, we usually have students from all over the world, which is always very exciting and very reflective of what our student makeup is in Gies Online and in our credentials. So looks like we've got some Chicago area, a little East Coast. Yeah, we've got someone, a global attendee here today, which is great. Slowly but surely, we're adding those locations. I think it's always amazing that we can all come together and learn about just our programs like this from all over the world. I'm still on, whenever I do these, I'm still amazed at that. So, all right, it looks like we've got, I don't know, about 25 people here or so, and great locations are highlighted. So it looks like, there we go. All right, well, thank you for sharing that. Got someone from Canada up there, I see, way north. Excellent. Well, I'm gonna just move on to our agenda. We are going to talk about the stackable design that we have within Gies Online, also all of our credentials. I'm going to really just give you a brief overview of each credential, and we'll also kind of do a poll just to see where everybody's at with that and which ones you're actually specifically interested in. And we can spend a little bit more time on those if needed. And then we'll do a program overview of each degree program. We'll talk about networking and the support that you'll have within the program, and then we'll have lots of time for Q&A. For the Q&A, I would say, please try to put your questions in the Q&A feature during this webinar. It's just a much easier place for us to monitor your questions and make sure that they are answered. And then everybody who's in attendance can go straight to those and make sure your question hasn't been answered before. Chat, throw any comments in there. We love your positivity and your positive comments in the chat. But save those questions for the Q&A. So I have some an exciting guest here today. Brandon Bell is here. He actually is a current student in the iMSM program. So I am going to let Brandon introduce himself. Brandon, do you mind telling us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. Hi, everybody. So my name is Brandon Bell. I am currently within my end of my first year here with the MSM program at Gies. I would say that my experience here has been simply amazing. Even though it's an online program, it feels as though it's in person, just by the connections that I've made and a lot of the live stream sessions that we have. I get to connect with other students as well. So I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois. I know you guys are going over where you guys are from. So I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I am a military veteran and now pursuing my master's in science and management.
Excellent, Brandon. I love that you already touched on the interactive nature of the program, and we're going to talk about that a lot. And so hopefully you can add your expertise in that area. If you guys also have questions for Brandon, you can throw those in the chat or the Q&A, and he can also access those and answer those questions for you. So, and one other person that's with us is Lori Hayes. She's going to be in the background. She's also my colleague. She's going to be answering all those questions. Lori, can you also throw the new website URL into the chat if you guys want to follow along or kind of check out our website while we're moving through today? It's just a great way to kind of check out some of our new stuff there and see if you have any questions. So, okay, so let's get started. I wanted to give you an overview of Gies Business Online, especially if you're brand new here. We are flexible. We have a lot of stackable options that we offer, and we are online by design. And so I just wanted to dive just a little bit into each of those. First, flexible. We are flexible in learning and location and access. We are 100% online in how you are going to access your courses, where you take your live sessions, and how you work this degree into your current career. Very flexible. All of the majority of our students are full-time working professionals, and they all access their coursework from everywhere in the world. You know, as I said, we are a global program, and you're going to access this material either on your own time or you'll pop into one of your live sessions. It's very flexible. You can do this on vacation. So just a lot of nice options there. You don't have to stop your life in order to earn your degree or further your education. We also give you the flexibility to design your own degree plan. So you're going to take 1 or 2 courses as you move throughout your degree or your graduate certificate, and you just continue through with your career and in your busy life. So you'll do this in addition to in addition to all of those other things that you have going on. We understand that. Gies online programs are stackable. So we are very dedicated to making learning accessible. And one way we've done that is to provide a lot of building block credential options. So we've focused on providing learning options for wherever you are at. So if you're not quite ready for a full master's degree, we have many smaller increments or smaller credentials that you can focus on and still be working towards that end goal that may possibly be a master's degree. We're going to talk about these options in the next slide, but we really have something for everyone as far as you kind of reflecting and seeing where you're at and what you can handle at that time as far as what type of credential. And then lastly, online by design. That means that we actually did design these credentials back well before 2016 when we launched the iMBA program to be offered to thousands of learners from the comfort of your home or vacation or wherever you are without giving up that interactive piece that Brandon mentioned, as well as having a lot of collaboration with your fellow classmates. So this is really at the forefront of our credentials to make sure that we are maximizing your learning, especially given that our population in the program, we do have a lot of global students. So we really want you to absorb that and learn from their backgrounds, and they're really different backgrounds than yours might be. So we also have really amazing faculty that are going to guide you through these courses and really make sure that you have real world problems and projects that you're working through with your fellow classmates. They're really great about that. So Brandon, I'm just going to throw it to you. Why did you choose Gies? Do any of these qualities resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like 110%. So, as of right now, I'm currently trying to get into law school, and I'm doing that on top of even being a master's student. And so, I found it that just being in attendance with Geese and just going to classes, it's really, really flexible. So for example, for a class, 9 times out of 10, there'll be a live session, either on Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays, and you would attend those sessions as if you're attending class. And then after that, you kind of have that time until the next session to kind of get your work done and to obviously collaborate with your team members or other classmates on the course material. So to say that the program is flexible is an understatement. It's very flexible. And what really brought me into just the program in general is, especially for the MSM program, is the immense focus that it has regarding to the like just business as a whole and actually understanding business as a concept and how certain companies do certain things. And so the MSM program kind of provides a more specific, more just in-depth understanding and knowledge regarding business and just business procedures. So, and I knew that that was something that I wanted to be a part of and actually learn more of, because I wanted to open up my own law firm, and I figured that it would be better that I would have a master's in management opposed to having an MBA, just because of how much focus I can really, or just how much experience and knowledge I can gain from focusing on specific subjects in management, and if that makes any type of sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. I really do think the management degree, the Master's of Science in Management, is something that could help every type of background too. So I'm glad you kind of touched on that. I think everybody could benefit from leadership and management skills, no matter what your background is. And it is actually stackable into the MBA. So we'll touch on that here in this next slide. But really, if you don't know where to start, that's a great place. If you're not sure you need the full MBA, because it actually does stack fully into the MBA now. So we will talk about that more, but this slide really represents the stackability that we offer here at Gies. We have a lot of different credentials that build upon each other, ultimately ending in a full master's degree, or two if you choose. So you could start small with a Coursera MOOC. So those of you who are not familiar with Coursera, that's a large educational platform that we partner with for our foundational materials. So you can find a Coursera MOOC and audit that for free, or pay a subscription on the Coursera platform. We actually incorporate those MOOCs, or massive online open courses, into our 4-credit coursework. So we could talk about this in a little bit, a little deeper, but 2 of those Coursera MOOCs are included in every 4-credit hour course that we offer here at Gies, and that represents that second cube. So the second cube is a 4-credit course. Great option if you're just not sure about any of this and you want to maybe, expand your learning in a specific course topic. Take that 4-credit hour course. See how all of our materials and the interaction, the collaboration, how it all works. We hope that you'll love it. And then you can stack that into that next block, which is a graduate certificate that we'll talk about. Those are 12 credit hours, and those also stack into either the MSM or the MBA or the MSA master's degree program. So, and then as Brandon was kind of speaking a little bit about, the MSM does, or maybe I was, the MSM does stack fully into the MBA program, as well as the MSA. And we also recently announced a lot of our residential management degrees. They also stack into the MBA. So many options for you within this kind of idea of stackability. Before we go any further, though, I guess we have a lot of people here. So check out this poll. Let us know which program you're specifically interested in, so that we can make sure that we focus maybe a little bit more time on that. We've got the iMBA, the iMSM, the iMSA, those graduate certificates that we talked about. Are you just here and ready to learn about maybe starting on a non-degree course, or even down to the basic MOOC? Great place to start as well. So it looks like 50% of you are here for the iMBA. Are we 29% MSM, 14% MSA? So a little bit of everything, but a lot of MBA students. Graduate certificates, that's great. That's a great option, but it's okay if everybody's not interested in that today. We do a lot of different webinars. So if you are interested in that, we can focus on that in a different type of event. But someone is interested in a non-degree course. Great option. Okay, so now we know. So iMBA, iMSM, a little bit of MSA. Let's talk about really briefly, though, the basics. So someone was interested in taking a Gies non-degree course. I just wanted to mention that these are, we're going to just do kind of a quick overview of these first couple credentials. But if you're not quite ready for that full master's degree, as I said, the next 2 slides, these are great options for you. This first option is just taking one 4-credit hour course that's part of one of our many master's degrees. So you could start with this just one course, learn about that specific topic. You will earn transcript credit, so this would be on your transcripts. And if admitted into a later credential, like a grad cert or a master's degree, you wouldn't have to take this course. It would count towards those degrees. brief application process that take you like just a couple minutes. Honestly, we just want to know that if you have a bachelor's degree, and that's really about it. It shouldn't take you long. And then we'll talk about the content, what makes up a Gies non-degree course, or all of our courses here in the next couple slides. But as I said before, it is going to combine those MOOCs on Coursera, as well as a high engagement component that we add in from Illinois. The other option is graduate certificates. It didn't seem like anybody was interested, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these today, but these are really great options. If you want to learn a little bit more in-depth knowledge of a specific area, like strategic leadership and management, that is a 12 credit hour combination of courses that's included in our iMSM program, as well as our iMBA program. You can use those 12 credit hours and start with that grad cert and then stack that into any of our full-time master's degrees, the iMBA, iMSA, or the iMSM. So as you can see that list, we have 11 graduate certificates. We're launching 2 more next fall. So there are just a ton of options there if you're interested in that route. Okay, so let's get to the degree that Brandon is in, the iMSM. Before we dive into that, Brandon, did you look at a lot of schools when you were researching a master's in management?
I did, yeah. For me, the biggest thing was like the flexibility part. That's kind of what won me over with the iMSM program, is just how transparent the information is. A lot of the programs that I was looking at, I found that it was really hard to kind of get that type of information, the information that you kind of have right here, like the quick facts. It's hard to get that type of information sometimes from these schools. And so the biggest thing for me was like, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money on school and not have as much information as possible of kind of how to go about the process, or how long should it take, or what kind of classes I have to take, things like that. So I feel like with this, for the IMSM program, it's just really transparent, and it provides us like a ton of information of just about the degree, what the degree is about, and what are you even going to be doing throughout your course time, throughout the school year or the semester.
Okay. I love that. I love the flexibility option. Well, this is the quick facts of the Masters of Science in Management. And if you're like Brian or Brandon and his kind of background resonates with you, you could also, this is just a great degree for anybody who wants to learn strategic planning and kind of fine tune your leadership skills, or maybe you want to manage a team within your current role. You could be starting out your career with this as your foundation, or we have a lot of students that have 10 plus years of work experience, and they're changing their role and taking on either managing a team, or they feel like they need just to enhance their leadership and management skills. So this degree comes in at just under $12K. You can take anywhere from 1 to 2 years typically, but the graduate college does have a maximum of 5 years. So that's how we get to that 60 months time to complete. You essentially can start 5 times a year. So we really have a start time for you that's just around the corner, no matter when you reach out to us. It will include 36 credit hours. Of that, 6 are going to be your core courses, and then you have 3 elective choices. So we have a couple tracks that you can choose from. Nice thing about having those electives is that you really can kind of cater your degree to some other interests that you have, or specific other, kind of business skills that you're looking to learn. So, and then as we've noted a couple times, the MSM is fully stackable into the MBA. So if you complete your MSM, you would then apply to the MBA program. We'll take a look at how you did in that. You still do need to apply. And there'll be kind of a little bit of a different essay for you to kind of talk a little bit about how you're stacking that degree. Yeah, that's the Master of Science in Management. So let's jump to our next master's degree, which is the MSA, or the Master of Science in Accountancy. I know there was a couple people that were interested in the MSA. So this degree is going to build on the expertise in the fundamentals of accounting. So financial reporting, audit and control, little US federal taxation. So you could be a mid-level professional that wants to really move up within your current either company or industry, or you could be brand new to the field. We have a lot of students too that are just entering the accounting. Maybe they have a little experience and they really need the foundational skills and learning in order to excel in those roles. So this degree is 20 to 28K. I did see a question, I think, in the chat. The reason that is a range is because of your elective choices. So there is a difference in cost between management or business courses and accounting courses. So our accounting courses that are included in the MSA are $850 per credit hour compared to the MBA and the MSM courses, which are $332 per credit hour. So a little bit of a difference there. You do have to take one non-accounting elective included in the MSA during your degree. But it can take anywhere from 18 to 36 months. We only have 3 start dates for the Master of Science in Accountancy. So you can start in January or August with a full like core course, or you can start in May with an elective choice. 5 core courses. Again, you do have some elective choices. We have a data analytics concentration that's popular, and this degree is also stackable into the MBA, which is really nice. Last but not least, the MBA or Master of Business Administration. It seems like there's a lot of folks here that are interested in this degree. This is going to include the leadership and management skills that you learn in the MSM, and then also take a much deeper dive into skills that you need to run an entire business with all of that management, all of that accounting, financial skills that you'll learn, in the MBA. It's also going to touch a little bit more on business theory and current trends and a lot of practical application with lots of examples from those problems and projects that we talked about that your faculty will share within your live sessions and your courses. Just under 24K, typically 2 to 3 years is what the MBA will take to complete. Again, you have up to that 60-month 5-year mark to finish. We're really flexible. If you need to take an 8-week term off, you're going to take an 8-week term off. You'll just let your advisors know. We get it. Like, everybody's doing their best to fit all of this in, and we're excited that you're, taking your learning to the next level. So we're okay with that. Like, whatever it takes, this is your degree and it's your schedule. So if you need to take a little time off, that's fine with us. Similarly to the MSM, you can start 5 different dates. So we really do have a lot of options as far as your start date goes. One other note is that it's 72 credit hours. So that's going to total 18 courses. Of those, 12 are going to be your core courses, and those are divided up into 3 course specializations. And then you'll have 2 of those specializations, which we call focus areas. Those are going to be your elective choices. So we have currently 5 different tracks that you can choose from. You'll choose 2, or you can choose an elective track and pick any 3 courses from all the elective choices, which is really nice. And then lastly, there's 3 capstone projects. So you'll do 2 capstone projects on 2 of those 6 specializations that you've completed, just kind of reviewing everything that you learned in those in that specialization, and then you'll have a program capstone before you graduate. Okay, so I wanted to just spend a little time on what a course looks like. And Brandon, hopefully you can help me here, but actually I'll just throw it to you first and then we'll get into the specifics. But can you kind of just describe in your own words what it looks like to combine the asynchronous, like, Coursera component along with the high engagement? Like, what does that look like in a real course?
Yeah, so essentially in a real course, what will happen is at the beginning of that course, your professor or student or teacher aide, they will most likely show when they want the MOOC to be completed. So for example, a lot of my courses that I take, they want the high engagement component, which is the MOOC, completed at the end of the semester or at the end of the class, once the class is completed at the end of week 8. And so it's kind of your responsibility to stay ahead of the course material. The good thing about the MOOCs is that they're separated in weeks. So if you complete 1 week, and you can really do it in 1 day, You can complete like a week's of work in the actual platform, and then from there it'll just show completed, and then you'll just move on to the next week. I've seen people do it all at once. Some people do it beforehand. You are able to sign up for the actual high engagement course on Coursera and complete the entire modules right before your class starts. Like I've had classmates who completely did it. They were completely done with it. And so when we started class, the only thing that they had to do was the homework and the team assignment. So it kind of is to each their own. It's really how you want to do it and what works best for your schedule. Personally, for myself, I like to knock it out all at once. Sometimes I like to do it beforehand. So if I know I'm signing up for a class like marketing management, then I can simply just go on Coursera, look up the actual MOOC, and then sign myself up for the MOOC and get started on the course. As long as you're a student and your account is active on Coursera, you're able to do that. So that's a strategy that I use that helps, but I don't know how that works for others.
Yeah, but I think the beautiful thing is that everybody figures out how it works best for them. I think I've talked to a lot of students who do like the Coursera part the week before, and then they have, the high engagement component, and it kind of works well because then they're just reviewing back. But so hopefully this doesn't all sound super foreign to everybody, but if it does, just to kind of recap, there is an asynchronous component found on the Coursera platform that is non-credit bearing. So it's a completion grade. So every 4 credit hour course, as I said, you will have 2 MOOCs. There's 4 modules in a MOOC. So you work, in an 8-week term, you'll do a 4-week MOOC, and then you'll have a second 4-week MOOC. And those are all just made up of pre-recorded videos from your faculty members. You'll have self-assessed quizzes, some assignments, and a little bit of kind of peer review at the end, all done asynchronously. So you can do that at any time. As Brandon said, once you're admitted, you can do as many MOOCs as you'd like and work ahead. What Gies really is including in addition to that is the high engagement component that is found on the Canvas platform, which you will be introduced in your onboarding. It's going to really build upon that MOOC foundational material. We kind of sometimes refer to the MOOCs as your virtual textbook, if that gives you a better idea of what it's like. Because in addition to that, you're going to have a 90-minute live weekly lecture each week that's going to be offered 2 to 3 times on whatever day the professor decides. And our goal is that you attend those because there is a lot of interaction. You're going to be in breakout sessions. You're going to be answering questions from your faculty members. They're going to call on you, all sorts of things. But if you can't make it, we understand, and we do provide the recordings to those weekly lectures as well. And then you'll have group projects where you're working with 4 to 5 other students on a specific project. There's faculty office hours. The faculty is very accessible. You can pop into those, listen to other people's questions, ask your questions, make sure you have a clear understanding of the material. Those are really great options within your courses as well. So the asynchronous Coursera component works together with all of those other things, the group projects, the live sessions, and that's where you're going to have a lot of that interaction and collaboration that works along with the Coursera component. Brandon, can you just give like a brief example of what a group project would look like in a course?
Absolutely. So that's a good question. You know what? Actually, I have a good example. So one of the required classes, and this actually goes, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this goes for iMBA and iMSM, leadership and teams.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So that is a class that is required, and first and foremost, it's a really great class. I loved it. But the cool thing about this particular class was that our team assignments was on like a Harvard simulation, where essentially we got to virtually climb up Mount Everest. And during the entire project, you're working with your team members. You guys are going over like, the different roles, like who's going to be the doctor, who's going to be the super athletic person, who's going to be, and each person has a role. And so with that role, you get to have your own responsibility. So if you were a doctor, for example, you had the responsibility of handing out motion sickness medication, because if you're going up Mount Everest, well, not motion sickness, I'm sorry, but the altitude sickness. So if you're, climb up Everest, you need altitude sickness medication. The doctor's responsibility is to provide that. And so that was a really cool team exercise because we all did it all at once on Zoom. And throughout the whole time, we're just talking and laughing. But in the end, though, after the fact, when we submitted the assignment, we had to go over, kind of after action reports, what could have been better, what didn't go great, what went amazing, and I found that was probably one of my favorite team exercises because it actually enabled everybody in a team and in the group as well. So, and then even after the fact, when we logged back on for our live session, it was really cool to talk to the professor about it because we were able to share our experiences as well throughout the project. So the projects are great. I love them. It just it depends on the class. Each class is different. Each team project is going to be different. Some are really hard, some are really fun, some are really boring. It just all depends.
Yeah, I know they do a really great job of trying to keep them current, and they also
yes.
are constantly coming up with new case studies and new projects that you'll have.
And the case studies too is another one as well for the team engagements. Is that's a big one for the case studies as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for describing that. I always think that's a good, just to give everybody an idea of what a group project would look like. One other note about all of our iDegrees. I just wanted to mention that little I, we often get questions about this. That refers to the method of delivery only. Originally, actually, when we moved from a residential to an online platform for the MBA, we actually needed the I to designate, but now it's sticking. But we really refer to those, that really just helps us decipher that is an online delivery. It's not going to be noted on your transcript or your degree certificate. You are going to earn a diploma from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So I know sometimes that's a question. And so I just wanted to clear that up. But this slide is just some of our amazing professors. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight this a little bit. In case you're kind of curious, like how are we delivering all of this information? And we have 74 plus faculty members who teach in online programs. So they have such great experience. We have 250 TAs that support them in the courses. We, as a group, as a staff, we have 55 Gies staff members that work in teaching and learning to create all of this amazing content. We're constantly, I know we have 2 new courses that are getting ready to launch. So we're always trying to come up with new ideas. We complete 40 live sessions every week with over 19,000 videos that we've created to date. So just think about that volume, and we've got it down. We're doing it. We have 6 amazing video in state-of-the-art studios here at BIF, which is our business instructional facility. And then we actually just broke ground. Well, I think it's been a little bit now, about a year. I think in 12 months or so, we're going to have our new Stephen Wyman Hall business building, which is going to have 7 more amazing studios. So we have amazing facilities to create these live sessions in. Brandon, who's been your favorite faculty member so far?
Oh man,
tough choice, right?
You had it up, and the slide before, you can show the slide beforehand. Two of my favorite professors are actually in that slide. I honestly would say Professor Keating, and she had the Everest and kind of what I was talking about, the team projects. She is amazing. It's just amazing. I learned a lot from that class, from the teams class. Yeah,
that has a great team. In total with that course too, with Elizabeth Walkman as well. Yeah. So, well, I wanted to just share a quick brief video, if just to give you a sense of what a live session is like. So listen to this video.
Hello and welcome from wherever in the world you are. One thing you'll know by now, you'd realize you are not going to be able to just sit back. Got excited.
Absolutely.
I do not believe in exams. It will be a collaborative event, something you do over time with others. And that's what we do in this class. I want you to put up your hands and tell me 2 associations from the case.
Tradition comes to mind.
Associated with a working man.
Also inexpensive and very accessible.
And my classes by saying, all of you, go out in the world and be successful.
I can actually contest to his class. He does not have any final exams.
Nice. No, so that's Hayden Noel. He's one of our great faculty members. Very energetic and just a great example of just the interaction that you'll see in those, and just a fun atmosphere, I think, to learn in. So okay, so let's get to one of my favorite things to talk about in Gies Online and our credentials is the networking. I think a common question that comes up is, this is a virtual program. How am I going to connect with my fellow students? And the answer is there's many, many ways. We actually host and lead a lot of opportunities for you to get involved. And then the students have a lot of opportunities that they create. And honestly, a lot of networking opportunities organically happen within our program. Brandon, what's been your favorite way to network so far?
When initially the way I connected with other students was actually on LinkedIn. So it's funny because my team members they would just send me LinkedIn connections, and I would see, and I'd be like, I was just on a call with you like 15 minutes ago. And so that's one way I like to connect with, especially like the people that I'm working with in groups. Another way is I actually just got invited to a Top Golf event for iMSM members and iMBA. So I guess they're having this like networking event at Top Golf. Another way that I've been able to network as well, I was actually just invited maybe a month ago to an event at Gies for the iMSM program. So, I mean, there's like a ton of ways that I am able to network, and it's just simply through the school, because both those invitations were from the school, the one at Top Golf and then the one to Gies as well. So I would say just look out for your email because they always come in.
Yes. Yeah, so we lead a lot of those opportunities through iConnects, which is probably what you're referring to, where we bring current students, prospective learners, alumni, we bring them all together. Sometimes we have a little bit of a professional development or a speaker involved. Sometimes it's just for fun and mingling. Sometimes our leadership team is there. We host those domestically and internationally. We also have immersions. Immersions are, let me show you this next slide just as a visual. Immersions are basically a week project where we hold these domestically, internationally. Sometimes they're virtual or they're in person, but 30 to 50-ish, depending on what the format is, students will get together, you apply. There is an extra fee involved, but you will go on this trip where you're working on a specific project with a host company. Throughout your time on the immersion, you'll meet with various stakeholders in the community. There's a cultural aspect to it where you'll do some fun things like that to get to know, the location. But really a fun experience, very challenging as far as I've talked to a lot of students, and sometimes there's a competition on the last day where you're presenting your ideas to the company that they actually might implement into one of their solutions for the problem or the project. So really cool opportunity. We also have iConverge that we put on every year, where we invite all of our online students to campus and alumni for 3 days of networking and professional development. This is so fun. That picture on the right, we actually got the whole group out on the lawn in front of the State Farm Center this past September and took that picture. But really, we have some amazing speakers that we bring in. You get to meet all of your fellow students. There's fun events every night. We host a tailgate. You can go to a football game and see the Fighting Illini. So just a really amazing experience. 32 countries were actually represented, which is pretty impressive. People travel from, in fact, there was one student who was from Dubai. He literally flew into O'Hare, drove down, was here for 2 days, and drove back to O'Hare and flew out back to Dubai. So a really neat opportunity. As far as student-led opportunities, as a student in our program, a degree student, you will have access to Workplace. This is an online social media group or platform that we use for our students to share ideas. They form study groups. You can get resume help or do a little job searching and use your fellow students to help you advance your career and just have fun and meet other students in the program. So this is this is just a couple examples on your screen of the many things that you can do on Workplace. Student meetups. So our students organically plan their own meetups. So, you know, Brandon mentioned Top Golf up near him. Sometimes a student will just put together an event, post on Workplace, say, hey, who lives close or within a 50-mile radius? Those students meet up at either, you know, Top Golf or a restaurant or maybe a coffee shop. And then you have this kind of homegrown group that you can meet on a personal level in person. And that happens quite frequently. Students reach out to other students a lot. Like, for instance, one of our students flew to South Africa and he didn't know anybody in the area, and a fellow student that he had never met actually picked him up at the airport, took him on a tour all day and dropped him in his hotel later that evening. So our students are really happy and excited to help each other in that way. Couple other things, we have the ambassador program, which Brandon actually is part of, where you can help us do webinars like this or help us have conversations with prospective learners and talk about the program. That's an opportunity. We also have the iGBA, which is the Illinois Graduate Business Association. They host all kinds of events to bring students together, give them opportunities to kind of get to know each other and also facilitate a relationship between the administrative team and the students with new ideas and making sure we have a channel for that. So another great opportunity to network. Okay, so I wanted to touch on your resources and support, I guess, that you would have in the program. And we have a full student and academic success team. As an admitted student, you will go through an onboarding process and then have access to this team where they can help you with your degree planning, make sure you have all of your courses in line. You can pop in on, you know, Express Advising. They have open hours. You can email them. They're very accessible and helpful. So know that you're not just thrown into this degree or credential and not given guidance. We have a full team that will support you there. Okay, so we are getting into the application requirements. So I'm curious, you can check out this poll on your screen using the QR code or the kind of web location. What part of the application looks time consuming or the most difficult? What are you most nervous about in the application? So let me just, I think, oh, sorry about that. I just lost the slide, didn't I? Go ahead and pull that up, either academic statement, letters of recommendation. Is it the transcripts? We do require unofficial transcripts for our graduate certificate and degree applications. So you'll upload either a picture or a scanned copy of your transcripts. Is that making you nervous? Let's see what everybody is saying. Academic statement, okay. Resume is second. Letters of recommendation, I definitely can help you there. Work experience. And let's see, English proficiency. So we'll touch on that a little bit, but it looks like we definitely can alleviate some of your academic statement concerns as well as your letters of recommendation. So thank you for filling that out. It looks like we got a little battle between resume and unofficial transcripts. Well, let's just go back and address some of those. So as far as resume goes, yes, we do require that for the 3 master's degree programs as well as the graduate certificate. You just need a really simple resume though, like 1 to 2 pages. We don't need to see too much other than your work experience and your education, honestly. Keep it simple. Academic history, as I said, we do require unofficial transcripts. keep it simple. We just need a picture or that file uploaded to your application. If admitted, we will require official transcripts at that time. So you might have to order those if you don't have a picture or a copy of your bachelor's degree. And in that case, you'll just take care of that official requirement early. But for the application, we just need the unofficial copies. Okay, academic statement. It sounded like some people were a little nervous about that. And I just want to say, don't be. This is really your chance to tell us a little bit about yourself and something that we're not going to learn from just looking at your materials. So we've recently updated these to be just one 500-word statement. And then we'll have 2 required short answer personal statements, and then there's 2 optional. The optional are a good place to put maybe a explanation of your English, your inability to obtain an English test. If you're an international student, you could write that there and explain why you should earn an exemption. That'd be great. Maybe you have a low GPA from your bachelor's degree. We do require a 3.0 for our degree programs, as well as the graduate certificates. Maybe you have a large gap in your work experience. Those are good things to write about in your optional personal statements, but otherwise try to just not be nervous about that part. We really just want to get to know you on a different level, understand what your goals are, things like that. 2 recommendation forms. So I know that we had some questions about this. When you enter your name and email into your application, which is all we require for you to be able to submit your full application for review. At that point, when you enter the information, we actually email those people, that email address, a form to fill out. That by itself can serve as your recommendation. So it should not take the recommender a long time. This is not a huge lift. They can probably fill that out in 10-20 minutes. There's going to be some questions that they rank. They rank you basically strongly agree to strongly disagree. And then there's just a couple short paragraph questions that they'll fill in. If they want to write a letter, great. They can either add that in addition to that form or just fill out the form pretty briefly and add in that letter as well. But you can actually just tell them that they can only fill out the form, and that is sufficient. We will weigh both of those the same. So it's really not a stressor. I hope that I'm conveying that, but we really just need the name and email of those recommenders, and it's pretty straightforward from there. Okay, wrapping up, English proficiency. If you're an international applicant, we do require the English proficiency test or write that waiver essay that I was speaking about. If you have specific questions in this area, a lot of times it's kind of a little bit of a nuanced answer. So please reach out to us. We'll put our email address in the chat, and we're happy to walk you through that process. No GRE, no GMAT required. We do have a couple scholarship opportunities, but we're past that deadline for fall. If you're interested in scholarships, the next deadline would be May 2nd for a fall August start, August or October start in one of our programs. So we have one scholarship in partnership with Coursera that reimburses 70% of the tuition. And then we have one offering just for a female student in the iMBA program for each term that would reimburse $20,000 of the tuition. So 2 great opportunities. If you end up applying to those, the application is within our program application. So you will submit both at the same time by that May 2nd deadline. Okay, lastly, performance-based admissions track. Excuse me. This is a great option if you perhaps have a GPA that's lower than a 3.0. Maybe you have maybe you just want to try out the program on a kind of a pilot basis. Maybe you have a huge gap in your work experience and you feel like this might be a better route, but essentially you would go through the same application process, apply with the same materials required. We'll review your application, interview you, and if decided, you would be admitted into this PAT track as a non-degree student. You actually take 3 courses that it's 2 for MSA, 3 for the MSM and the MBA. You have to earn a B or better in at least 2 of the 3 and an overall GPA of 3.0, and then we automatically admit you. So an amazing opportunity for someone, say you have a 2.5 from your bachelor's degree, but you have really amazing work experience and you've really shown growth and have a great, just really great professional experience. We'll take all that into consideration, and this would be a great track for you, perhaps where you might not be admitted if we just had a hard cutoff with that 3.0. So a really nice opportunity for some students. Give us 2 to 3 weeks. Usually it's going to be much shorter than that, but give us that time to do a holistic review and make sure we look at all of your applications, and then we'll either send you an admissions decision, a missing materials email. You might be missing part of your materials, or we'll invite you to interview, and then we'll go ahead and do that quick Zoom interview. Brandon, do you remember your interview?
I do remember my interview. It was actually with my professors, believe it or not.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Was it something to be stressed over?
No, not at all.
No.
It was
Okay.
a conversation. It wasn't even.
Yeah. Yeah, we just want to get to know you and understand why this program is right for you, and talk a little bit about your goals and make sure it's the right fit for both sides. So it's not something to get stressed over. Lastly, deadlines coming up. I want to make sure we have enough time for questions here, but the next deadline is February 1st. So if you would like to start in either the iMSM program or the iMBA program, and or some graduate certificates that are starting in March, February 1st would be your deadline. If you're interested in the iMSA program, you could wait and apply for a May start in the summer, which would be starting with an elective course, but you can start in May. Otherwise, all 3 degree programs, as well as many graduate certificates, will have May 2nd as their first fall deadline. So there's really a deadline for everybody. We're constantly admitting students. Fall applications will probably open up at the, not too early next year. And so I'm sure there's an option for you as far as a start date and when to apply. So, okay, last poll. We went over a lot of information, and Brandon shared a lot of his experiences, which has been great. Be sure to put your questions in the Q&A for Brandon if you have any specific student experience questions. But how are you feeling about all of these credentials that we talked about? Do you feel frustrated, like there's too many options? Do you feel good, like you learned a little bit, hopefully, from us today? Let me know how you're feeling, and let's see, hopefully we get a lot of greens. Yay. Okay, that's good. If you're feeling like on the left side of the screen and you're frustrated because you didn't have your questions answered, please put them in the Q&A right now. Or the chat, because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with all of this information and walk away kind of understanding what it takes to be in the program, as well as applying, and maybe just have a better idea of what the experience is like based on listening to Brandon. So good. We have mostly greens, which is always good. Wrapping up, I mean, I think we touched on most of these points, that obviously the University of Illinois is a quality institution, well-known, well-regarded. You would have 500+ alumni behind you, with the U of I. We touched on how flexible we are, pretty affordable as far as the quality of education that you'll get with the credentials that you will earn. Super innovative. I think we talked about how we combine that Coursera component, the foundational material, with an interactive collaborative piece that comes from our faculty, that comes with how we designed our courses. Networking is abundant in our programs, and we've won some amazing awards. Or, Poets and Quants named our program the iMBA Program of the Year back in 2022. Our Dean, Jeff Brown, was the Dean of the Year in 2021. A lot of top awards. Our accounting faculty is ranked number 3 in the United States. So we know we have really great programs. We're just excited that you're taking that step to possibly join us. And so yeah, I think we're wrapping up here. Super excited to have you all here today. The QR code's on the screen if you're interested in reaching out. I'm going to stop sharing and see what kind of questions we have. Brandon, are you seeing any questions specifically for you or Lori? Let's see.
I think we got all of them answered for the most part. Let's see. There is one in the Q&A right now.
Does the university administration consider scholarship requests during the session? No. So we have pretty specific deadlines for applying to a scholarship. So we have one deadline in the fall, and we have one deadline for spring programs. And if you miss that deadline, you would probably need to wait until the next time it is offered. So let's see, is there a degree that covers 150 hours to get the CPA? So CPA is a little tricky. We do recommend that you check with your own state requirements on what's required. But being enrolled in the MSA, the iMSA program would prepare you for the CPA, but you really need to research your specific state's requirements as far as that goes. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions. Oh, there's actually one left. Brandon, Kate and Brandon, was the admissions interview formal? What kind of preparation could you do for it?
It's not super formal. It's not necessarily any type of preparation that you can do. It's just simply a conversation. I know that I went into it thinking that it was really formal, so I did put on a suit and a tie, and when I logged on, he was like, "Oh, no, you don't need that. Like, we're just talking." So I was like, "Oh, well, okay, let's have a conversation." So, but for the most part, not formal, not very much that you can prepare for it. Just have a conversation. That's all.
Yeah, it's going to be with somebody from our recruiting and admissions team. And then we also do have some iMBA alums that do some interviewing for us. But as I said, we just want to get to know you a little bit. We want to make sure you're here for the right reasons and that you're going to bring a lot to the program as well. Looking at Brandon, I mean, we're definitely looking for students who are going to be interactive and collaborative within our program, because that's really what makes our program special, I think, is our students and their interest in being a big part of the conversation and taking their learning to that level as well. So that's
What
probably
it had to do with it was, more so, exactly. You spot on. That's spot on. Yeah. I would say that for the most part, they just want to know kind of like who you are and exactly what your interests and goals are. I know that was one of the biggest questions that he had asked me was what was my goal and what did I want to get out of Gies and what did I want to, or what could I provide to the program? And so simply just that. That was about it. That was probably
nothing to stress over. Nothing to stress over. So, okay, it looks like we have all of our questions and answered in the chat. Thank you, Lori, for being diligent in the Q&A feature. Brandon, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I always enjoy working with you, and I love having our current students present just to be able to put that human aspect on it and really kind of share what's really happening and share that student experience. So thank you for being here. Reach out to us for those of you that are here. If you still have questions, we are happy to chat, set up a Zoom or a phone call with you. We love talking to prospective learners, so reach out to us. And other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you're located, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. Have a great day.